One of the team was telling me a sad story today about a new client that's just come on board because they want some help shutting down their companies. It's just so frustrating because the owner had quite a solid business, but it's just ended because it ran out of cash. And as an accountant, look, I can say, it could have done with a cash flow forecast. We could have put in a spreadsheet, could have planned this out. It shouldn't fail. But actually, this reason is quite common. And that's that the owner just made bad use of those initial funds. They probably had enough money, but what this owner did is they spent it all on marketing. Now, marketing's obviously a key important thing. I'm sitting here recording to camera for these reasons, right? It's an important thing for your business. But what the owner actually did was borrow a lot of money personally, like 25 grand, put it into the company. And then the first thing they did was pay a massive lump sum to sponsor an industry event. Now, that industry event generated 0 leads for them. And then with the little money they did have left that they also put in, they then looked and they spent 6 odd grand on SEO, which is like, I don't know if you've ever done SEO. And from what we see as business accountants, it just doesn't seem to generate that amount of money that quickly. I'm sure there's, very good businesses that do it and everything else. I'm just telling you what we see. But, that sort of disappeared with no visible results. And then they spent another 15 grand on a website. And don't get me wrong, this website is like awesome. It really does look cool. But ultimately, it didn't generate any leads. It mechanically works well, but it didn't bring in enough cash. Oddly, the thing that actually brought in all the money was the more traditional stuff, like the selling, the picking up the phone, the networking, the outbound, the LinkedIn, like all these things, was generating money. And if you actually look at the business on paper, it does all right, but it's just run out of cash. It has to pay back all this money that the business owner owes. Personally, he needs to draw it or find some way to do it. And actually, he's going to have to go back and get a job because he can't sustain this any longer. I'm hopeful that actually he'll carry it on as a side hustle and get it going. But, it's ended the business and it actually would have worked, but we just made such poor use at the beginning. So if you listen to this, just try and think about that early stage. Do, if you can, do plan it in a spreadsheet. It'll take, not very long just to plug those things in and just give yourself a longer runway. Whatever you think it's going to take in terms of time to get customers back, just extend it massively. In this particular client's case, he actually had something which I think the sales cycle, as it's known, the time it takes from actually speaking to somebody or marketing them to getting the money in the bank was particularly long. He really did need that cash in the bank. So if this is you, just add an extra bit of time, spend that money wisely, and hopefully you'll survive where he didn't.